Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about resolve choice method, which is available in AWS Glue DynamicFrame. I'm again recording this video. Actually, I've already created a video for this topic, but there was a echo in this video or lesson, so that's why I have decided to again record it. Okay, so I have made it private, so you will not be able to see it. I'm again gonna upload it. Okay, so you can see how much hard work I'm doing for you. So at least what you can do is subscribe my channel, guys. In the last video, video number 39, we have discussed what is dynamic frame, how it is different than Apache Spark data frame, and what are the different ways of creating a dynamic frame. So in the last video, we have loaded this file in order to create a dynamic frame where we have seen that in amount column, we have different type of values. For example, in the record 1, it is of double type. In the record 4, it is of integer type. In record 5, it is of type string. And this is the typical use case where we have a messy data type and there we use dynamic frame. So let me go back to the notebook and see it in action. This was the code we used for creating a dynamic frame on top of that file. Again, I'm reminding you that for this demo, I am using a Docker image for Glue and even for Minio. Minio is for corresponding to S3. Okay, so that's why I'm able to run my code into my local, right? So don't get confused. Otherwise, the code will remain same whether you're gonna run it using Docker or maybe from directly from Glue, a Glue job. Okay, so this was the code to create a dynamic frame, and later on we printed the schema, and this is how the schema looked like. For the amount column, the choice data type got selected via this dynamic frame. And what is this choice? So dynamic frame detected that there are different type of values available for amount, so it created a choice data type inside it, provided us information that this particular amount column is coming with different type of values such as double, int, and string. And this is where we need to actually resolve this choice before proceeding, because this data type is something which you cannot use for data processing or data analysis. So it become compulsory for us to resolve this data type first to basically cast this amount column to one of a data type which is supported in Spark. For example, double, int, string, or struct type, or maybe if you want, you can create a different column for each type. So here the resolve choice method gonna help us. So what is resolve choice method? If we can see from AWS official documentation, it resolves a choice type within the data frame dynamic frame and it returns a new dynamic frame. So what all parameters you will require here is basically either you're gonna use this spec parameter or the choice parameter. As of now, let's keep our focus on this spec parameter, and how it gonna look like in action is like this. I have my dynamic frame I'm running a method on top of it, resolve choice, and inside that I'm providing a parameter in a form of a spec. So this is the spec we were talking about, and here you can see that a spec is nothing but a list of a tuple. But what is this list of a tuple? This tuple is nothing but it contains the name of a column which is having ambiguity and the action which you want to take on top of that column. Now, if you have multiple column with the ambiguities, in my case, only single column is there, but if you have multiple column, then you can provide that column name and related action by just giving comma and with the new tuple inside this list. So now we have know what is this spec. Let's quickly read it also. It is a list of specific ambiguities to resolve each in the form of a tuple. So we have just discussed about it. So we also know that inside a tuple we need to provide a field and an action which you want to take on top of it. So there are four different action which we can take. One is you can cast it to any type. You can use make call, make struct in order to create it to make it as a struct, and you can use project type. Let's see all of them in action. So if you want to cast it to double, you just need to write it like this. And after we run it, we can see the schema. It got casted as double, but we can also see what is the behavior of casting it in the data, how it impacted our underlying data. So what it has done is wherever it was able to cast it, for example, line number one, it was able to cast it because it was already in double, and integer is a eligible data type to get casted into double. And even this is string, however, it is a string, but the underlying data is typically in double, so it was able to cast it. So wherever it was able to cast it, that got casted successfully, but wherever it could not, the value become null over there, because you can see the rest of the lines have this is a string without any eligible integer inside it, so it got converted to null. This was already a null, so that's why it became null, and this was actually again a string without any integer inside it, so it also became null. Because these values are null, that's why you are not able to see their value inside it. However, you can safely assume wherever you are not able to see it, there the value of this amount is null. Now let's look into the second action which you can take in using this resolve choice method is you can write project, and after that you can provide a data type to which you want to project it. So what it gonna do is it gonna preserve only those value of amount which actually have double data type coming from source. Other values, whether they are eligible or not to get converted into double, it gonna simply convert them into null, and that's why only for the first record you can see the amount value, and for rest of them the value of amount will become null. I will personally will not use it in data engineering because from my point of view, this 199 and 150.75, these are two eligible values to be stored, but because we used project colon double, we lost those values. So if we have a very strict requirement, then only we should use it according to me. But if you have any a different opinion, please let me know. So the third is if you want to create a struct out of that column, then you can just write make a struct, and it's gonna convert your column into the struct. And here the important point which you need to see is that your column name got created with the data type, corresponding data type. How you gonna call this method? You're gonna call them like amount dot double, amount dot int, amount dot string. This is how you're gonna use this column in your query. And here also you can see that this is how it treated our data. Now you can see that we are not losing any information in this case, and all of the information is preserved with their particular data type, or basically in this case I think this is column name. This is not a data type. This double is this double. Okay, this is not this double. I hope you are able to understand it. So but what is the main thing here is we are not losing any information. However, it is a structure type, so it may become little difficult for you to process this data or maybe to analyze this data, but at least we are not losing any information over here. There can be any requirement in the future where the client will say you, hey, I do not want to lose any information. You need to preserve all of those information. In that case, please go ahead and use make struct. Cool. The last type is which we have over here is the last action is make underscore call. I personally like it a lot because it does a lot of things. Okay, so when you're gonna take this action, what it will do is it will create as many column, as many different data types are available for that particular column, with the name as that column suffixed by underscore data type. So here you can see that it created three different amount column, one for amount double, one for amount integer, and amount string with the corresponding data type. So this is how it will look like behind the scenes. This is how your data will get saved. Just wanted to give you one more perspective here. So here how it gonna look like. Let's say take an example of row number 4. So for row number 4 we have amount int, but for row number 4 the value of amount double will be null. Again the value for row number 4, the value of amount string will be null. And this is how it will look like when you will see it in from Athena, because Athena gonna show you all of the column, right? From the interface you're gonna see amount double, you're gonna see amount string, you're gonna also see amount int. So wherever you have a value, it's gonna show you, and for rest of the corresponding column, it's gonna show you null value. Okay, we can see it in the action also in future videos, but for now, this is good. Now let me come back to the very important point. As in the beginning of the video, I told you that either you can provide a spec or choice. Now, when we should use choice, let's say I do not want to provide a individual column over here that I want to do some action on top of this column and then again comma and in second tuple I provide a name of different column. I do not want to mention all of these column. Instead, I want to provide directly an action and Spark or basically the glue should automatically take that action on all the columns which has ambiguity. Again, I'm repeating, in my case, only one column has ambiguity, but you can just imagine if there was a fourth column and that was also having an ambiguity, then by just writing a choice, it would have got implemented for all of those columns which have ambiguity. And what is the syntax for that is if I'll just come down in this sample code, so the syntax is you need to write your dynamic frame dot resolve choice the similar way we used to do it over here, and inside bracket instead of a spec you're gonna provide choice, right? And then you're gonna provide the action which you want to perform, and by default it will perform this action on all of those columns which has their data type as choice. Okay, now you know, right, what is this choice data type. So I hope you have learned something new in this video, and if that is the case, kindly like my video and subscribe my channel. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.